Okay, here we go. All right, so we forgot to record. So, oops, sorry about that. I'll put that in for just a few minutes. But what we're going to do today is going to be a little uncomfortable. Kind of like that first sketch that I made you do the first day of, draw your a face. I think I did head to toe body, not a hand, right?
Yes.
And a chair, and then something of your choice. Your choice was probably the less frustrating than the other three. But I want you to, as we work with left brain, right brain, I want you to be aware of when you make that shift. And one of the things that's not really mentioned in either of these is the sense of now, present. When you shift to your right brain, you are in the now. You're not in the future. You're not in the past. You are in the now. That's how when you're drawing, you're not worrying about what you're going to do this afternoon, or did you pack everything for your trip next week, or did you call your mom, or check up on so-and-so at the doctor. I mean, to me, that is the therapeutic part that I think everyone needs to find. I believe we're made in God's image, and if we can't find a creative outlet, we're missing out on something He created us for. And when I can get in that mode, it's called in the zone, and it'll be quiet because you're looking at the relationships between shapes and lines and curves, and you're trying to analyze the difference. It's very high order thinking, and that's why I wish all schools had this, because when you can learn, and I hope this is what happens with y'all, when you can look at something and you think, there's no way I could have drawn that 2 months ago, and you look at it and you go, I can do that. And when you learn that you can do something that you thought was unattainable in drawing, then that translates into other parts of your life. So if you think, I'm not going to ever be able to learn that computer program. I'm struggling. I find it hard. But I don't want to say I can't, because I haven't put that effort into it yet. And I'm going to struggle with it. And y'all are going to find videos that are just really bad, and that's okay, but I'm learning. And we all are. So regardless of what it is that you're learning, I think what you learn, when you can feel that shift in your head, and the time is obliterated. I can work on a painting or a drawing for hours, and my family go, are we going to eat? Oh, what time is it? I mean, it's really a great way to escape. And for those who, a lot of times, a lot of the people who I've met through art, they might be recovering from some addiction. And art, drawing, whatever, has been their escape. Because when they're in that right zone, they're not worried about where the next fix is, or they're not worried about, am I going to be tempted by my alcohol today? And it's just interesting how your brain works. So, the next thing we're going to cover is contour lines. And we did some of that last week. And let's start with just turn in your sketchbook to a blank sheet of paper. And I'm going to show you we'll take a couple of notes first. There's different kind of contour lines. Last week, contour lines we used, I'll just write it out. I think of contour lines as edges of things. Last week we drew with elements of shape. So I was looking at maybe the edge of, remember that vase we drew? And it started with double lines here, came down here, had a curved line here, curved line here. I'm drawing the edges. If I could touch it, what would it feel like? What does it look like? And then I think ended up like this, you know, with a slight curve at the bottom. Then I put in, you know, the utensils. What, you know, it's not exactly like this, but you know what I mean. You remember that. And so that's with elements of shape. That's what we did last week. Today we're going to work with contour lines looking at our hand. And that's probably the only thing we're going to do from life in this class is drawing our hands, because all of us have a hand. We're right-handed or left-handed. Or any Suzanne or Beth, are either of you right-handed, left-handed? Mm-hmm. Wow, the whole class is right-handed. Okay, that's good. They don't have, you know, if certain things would be different in some of the assignments. So because we're all right-handed, we're going to be drawing our left hand. Okay? Some of you already did that today. Some of you started with tracing and going around. But I want you to think about if I'm, let me back this. Oh, shoot. I can't back it up. All right. I'm just going to draw this pen because I can show that on the screen. And this, I'm just giving you a description. So there's continuous contour. There's point-to-point contour. And then there's blind contour. Whoops, forgot the con. Okay, so the first one I'm going to show you is continuous. Whoops, I can't even spell continuous, y'all. Put that S on there. Horrible speller. I had my student, so I need, you know, holler at me if you say Carrie misspelled. All right, so this is a fairly simple object, but if y'all just watch me, I'll show you what I'm thinking. I'm gonna do it in pen because I want everybody to easily be able to see it. Actually, I probably need to go to a thinner point pen because this is so thick and globby. Thank you. How sweet. All right, so now I have this, this 005 pen. Yeah, this is really tiny. So it's one of my favorites to sketch with. All right, so I'm going to look here from my point of view. It might be slightly different from yours because I'm looking at it at an angle rather than straight down. But I'm going to just start here. I'm thinking that's, and I'm just building my line. I'm not picking up my pen. I'm just there's a change in a line, and I'm going to continue on down a little bit. Then there's a dent. There's something that goes up, and then it comes around. There's a circle down here. It comes here. There's this. I gotta be quiet. It gets fatter. Comes down here. Comes in. If I want to throw in the shadow, I can do a continuous line. Like this, and again, I don't pick it up. I'm just dragging around. So that's a continuous line drawing. Kind of detailed, but it gives you an idea of what that shape is. I don't worry, but it's not exact. I don't care about that. Another method of drawing that uses line, I'm going to just throw that one in there because sometimes some of you are going to be more comfortable with gesture drawing. Gesture drawing is very loose, very fast. All you're doing is trying to get the position of something. The gesture drawing on this one, it might be as quick as this, like that. But you see how very quickly I got the shape of what it is. But I do that a lot with people. If I want to get a quick feel of the position that they're in, I just do a lot of squiggles, and we'll do more of that later. Okay, point to point. Well, I'm gonna let y'all. You can try the pen if you want, or you may do the hand. Y'all want to try the pen, since I did it? Which would you prefer?
Are we going to do point to point?
We're gonna. Well, do you want to try continuous?
Continuous.
I just want you to know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
well, what's your definition of continuous?
Continuous contour line is when you draw a picture, when you draw an image without picking up your pen. You might retrace a line to go back to a point, but it's all continuous. I mean, if I want to draw, like that lamp up there, if it's continuous, it comes up here, it goes this way, comes up. Okay, there's a continuous line of the lamp where you're kind of just feeling the edges. When you get to it as you get to something, you draw it as you get to it. Kind of like we did with our elements of shape, but instead of each shape being separate and apart, we're melding them together. Okay?
You did continuous on the lower pen.
Yes. This is gesture. Well, it's actually continuous, but it's not putting in details. Gesture has no details.
On the continuous contour, how did you keep your pen down and do the little upper rectangular shape?
This right here,
Yeah.
I backtracked.
Okay.
I reused a line. Yeah, you can go back over a line. You can add an additional line, but it's just getting a feel for what's there. You can still look for elements of shape as you go. Like, is that a straight line? Is that going to curve? Does it go up? Does it create an oval? But this is just another way of drawing. I'm going to the thing about the way I teach is I want y'all to have these different ways to draw. You're going to find one that relates to you better. You might find that elements of shape is the way you want to go. You might find that, wow, I really like the freedom of just flowing through an object. It might be where you like drawing with an eraser, and we're going to be doing some of that too. You might like pen better than pencil. But by giving you different ways to attack a drawing, hopefully you'll find one that resonates with you, and then that's the one that you can spend more time on. Some of you are going to love the graph, because the grid drawing, because it gives you so many reference points. And I will show you, yesterday I decided, y'all do homework. Well, not making you, I'm asking you to. It's not a requirement. So I thought, well, if you draw, then I should draw. So, and I haven't been drawing a lot because I've been painting. Well, I have been doing drawing in my journals. So this will be an example of a sketch without a grid, and I got a few things off, and then I'll do the same image later with a grid, and then I'll show you. So this was a sketch I did of my daughter. Her head and her body are a little disproportionate, okay? But when you're working on it, you think, oh yeah, that's good, and then you back away and you go, oh, I'm off. Okay, so but again, I want to practice this. I want to get to where I can get the proportions right without a grid, but I even struggle. So I'm learning too, and so I have to practice too. And she goes, yeah, I like my face, and I like nice boobs, Mom. You know. Anyway, so it's just it's just a journey. And allow yourself permission to play, to try, to, one of my favorite recent quotes, and I don't even remember who said it, is don't be afraid of failure, but be terrified of regret. And that just, sometimes things just really hit home to me. It's like, okay, I don't want to have regrets that I never tried that. I don't want, and so that's what, to me, y'all are doing, is you're trying something out of your comfort zone, and hopefully you won't, it's something that, well, I might fail through part of this, but I'm not going to regret that I tried. So anyway,
I have a question.
Yeah.
What is the advantage of the continuous contour as opposed to one of the others, like where you, like I do the Sharpie, so you go back, you're going back over a line rather than picking up the pen, but is there a time when you're drawing that's particularly advantageous, or just personal preference?
Blind contour. If you can learn, I'll show you that next.
Okay.
It's really not one better or the other.
Okay.
And just regular contour drawing, is just, looking at your shapes. I mean, you can pick up your pen and,
right.
But one thing that I like about not picking my pen up is I feel like I, again, am shifting to that right brain, and I'm paying attention to what I see.
Okay, so detail. You have to pay attention because you can't pick it up. That's true.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, see, so I did that one really fast, and I'm also talking. So if you're talking while you're drawing, you're going to frustrate yourself. You will really find that frustrating. And it's going to be hard for me as a teacher. Sometimes you're going to have to go, Carrie, be quiet. Because when y'all are drawing and you're really trying to focus, that's your visual spatial side. When I'm talking, trying to tell you something, that's why it's probably good that we're recording this, because there'll be times when you're drawing and you don't hear me. You're not being rude. It's just how your brain works. If you know somebody who's really into their work and whatever, you can talk to them, but if you don't put your hand on them and say, hey, Carrie, they're not going to hear you. My husband will go, that doesn't mean he heard me. He might hear me. He might know that something's being said, but he's not going to know what I said.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, ask questions anytime. Okay, now, this next one, point to point. If I use point to point more when I'm outside and I'm drawing plein air. That's on location. It's because I want to try to get it accurate and quick. And you can still do it this way. I'm going to flip over so I have a bigger, another sheet. Okay, so point to point. I'm going to just use the pen again so we can be consistent with our example. All right, so if I'm looking at something, point to point means I'm going to look at one point to the next point, kind of like when we were working in those squares and I said, where does this point lead to this point? So you just train your eye to go, okay, I'm looking from here, down to here, back to here. So I go here to there, point to point. I had a slight curve and then went out. Then I look here, point to point. I'm here and I'm coming down and back up. So I go with my eye, I look down, I look back. These are my think lines. Again, you're paying attention to what you see. So that's a slight curve to where I'm looking. So I go curve down, back up. Now that made a little turn, but I did that because it was short. Then point to point, I'm going from here back to here. It really should just be one direction. So I'm looking, my eyes are traveling back and forth, seeing the point. I'm observing, does it go straight at an angle, bends a little bit? Goes straight at an angle, bends a little bit. Point to point, really short there. Then I come over here. I can go point to point to the very end. Here to here is a straight line. You can't hardly see it right in through here because of the white shadow. But I'm going to look and see point to point. Not quite as long as the first one. Then I pick my pen up. I look for another point to point. I'm going to go over here. There's point to point here. Then I can do a small point to point line here that goes down to here. Point to point, I'm just move, you move your pen and go to wherever. I'm doing that real quick because I don't want to take up too much time. Circle, circle, point to point in here, starts below here, goes down here, touches there. Point to point, comes out, another point to point, comes back in. Okay? But again, that's still going back to what we did before. You're looking for one line at a time. How does it connect to something that you already have? It also slows you down. When you can only do one point at a time and you're going from section to section.
So that was our homework boxes.
Yeah. Yeah. That helps you with this. So everything we do builds on something else. So if you might not like the point to point, but when I'm outside drawing buildings, I'm going to look for a reference, and I might look for the point of the building closest to me. So that is my reference point, and so I draw that line, and then I look and see which direction it angles out, and I point there to point there. And sometimes you can do this when you train your eye to draw what you see. You can look point to point, point to point, and you can draw it without looking at your paper. And that's what blind contour is. So I'm going to go to that next. So blind contour is something that's going to look weird. It's not going to match. It's not going to... now point to point contour, I could probably do it more accurate because I'm looking and comparing one line at a time. Okay, so I'm gonna shift and go to my hand because I can turn around and see that better. When I do blind contour is when I'm gonna look at what I'm drawing. I'm not going to look at my drawing. Okay? So by practicing blind contour, when I practice blind contour, if I can draw something without looking at my drawing and it resembles something, then when I do look at what I'm drawing and my drawing at the same time, I'm going to increase my ability to capture its likeness. Okay? I'll show you hopefully my paper won't move too much. I might have to go get some tape. Alright, so what I'm doing, and y'all are going to try this in a minute, I'm going to draw this hand. Okay? Alright, I'm going to turn to where I cannot, I'm so far turned this way that I cannot see my paper. Y'all see that? Mm-hmm. Alright, so this is one thing that I'll start talking a little bit and tell you where I am, but I have to stop talking because I've got to pay attention to where I am. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna start. Okay, so my hand will be kind of like this. I'm gonna start at my wrist and I'm gonna work up. And what you do when you do blind contour is as you get to something, you draw it as you get to it, just like the continuous line drawing. You draw. I'm not going to pick. There's 3 rules. You don't pick up your pen or pencil. You don't look at your drawing. Oh gosh, and what's the other one? And you draw details as you get to them. So I'll just show you what kids at school would do. This is what I don't want you to do. They go, okay, now draw your hand, and so they'll go like this, and they'll go. Okay, they drew their hand. I go, no, F, wrong. Okay, this might look like a hand, and I know you have wrinkles where you have knuckles, but you didn't follow directions. I can tell, first of all, because you didn't draw things as you got to them. You lifted up your pen. You broke 2 of the rules. Okay, plus you went fast. So, no, I do not want you to do that. So, this is what, and the thing is, you have to learn to laugh at yourself, because some things are going to look really weird, but eventually, you're going to work. You're going to do it to where you can see it. So here goes. All right. First of all, if my hand is angling this way, I want to start far enough over here that I don't draw off the page, because I'm not watching. All right. So I'm going to put my pen down, and I'm going to start here and go up. Okay. All right. Does that come up? See some lines on that angle out, bend up, back of my nail on my thumb, feel my way back up, have a ring. Feeling my way down, not sure how far. Another knuckle. This finger is pointing right at me, so I've got to find a line to come to get to the nail, and then try to get down to where the next finger starts. Nail. Okay, so you can tell it's very fat hand, but it's a hand. And what's fun about these blind contours is it gives you this very loose, playful, almost like feeling of objects. And then, I mean, you could create an abstract and some art and some other things with this. What I have found, well, don't tell what I used to do in church. I don't do it anymore because of where I go keeps my attention. But I used to have my I shouldn't put this on video. I had my phone that had a pen, and I could draw on a screen, and I would be watching the minister